But Schrader drove it, ran second, and then I'm going to drive it on Wednesday. The main reason I'm driving it on Wednesday is because you committed to driving it, and then you failed.
Wait a second. Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid-taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently.
Okay.
Never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk about
stand
race
is like-
cars. God's
This
sake.
is our worst show ever. Hello, welcome to Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by my good friend, Landon Cassill of the newly coined Hall of Famer, Landon Cassill. Hawkeye Downs Wall of Fame. Is it a Wall of Fame or a Hall of Fame?
That's Sir Landon Castle to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. My apologies.
Yes.
Please forgive me.
I was recently inducted into the Hawkeye Downs Speedway Wall of Fame here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, my home track. It was quite an honor. Well, it was also a really, really incredible honor. It was the class that I was inducted with.
You gonna name names, or are you just gonna leave us on a cliffhanger?
Well, so myself and
That was
Ken
obvious.
Schrader. Yeah, that was a big one. Ken Schrader, who has raced at Hawkeye Downs a ton throughout the years, which he's raced at every track a ton. He told me on Friday that I think that he's surpassed 500 tracks in his lifetime,
Wow.
which is pretty impressive. Jim Williams, which was a guy that I raced against when I was a kid at Hawkeye Downs. So it's kind of cool to be in that class. A guy named Bob Ballard, who is kind of a legendary car owner, who I rooted for his cars when I was a kid sitting in the stands at Hawkeye Downs. So, it was kind of cool to be inducted with guys that I knew. And then a sprint car owner who I'd never met until Friday night, but Max Rogers. And
Wow.
he's had some pretty famous drivers like Doug Wolfgang, Lasowski, Jack Hottenchild have all driven for him over the years. So Hawkeye Downs was a dirt track back up until 1989.
All right.
And it became the first asphalt track in Iowa. So there's a ton of history at the Speedway because it was known to be a pretty fast track as a dirt track. It was a half mile.
Yeah.
Pretty fast half mile dirt track. So
Be digging.
yeah, that was a great honor. That was awesome. And I'm going to race on Wednesday. It's NASCAR night at Hawkeye Downs. We are a
racing?
NASCAR track. Yes.
What are you racing?
I'm racing a sport mod on the quarter mile.
What?
Yes.
We're back in the game, baby.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's advanced
What
night.
convinced you?
Well, we've been calling it NASCAR night, but I need to credit where credit's due. I think it's actually advanced auto parts night. But we are a NASCAR sanctioned track, so which is awesome. NASCAR actually, oh my gosh, we're NASCAR shills on this show, aren't we?
Jeez.
Well, I
got
have to
called
give
that
props
last
to
week.
NASCAR because they pretty much every single dollar that is spent by the Speedway to become a NASCAR track in terms of their fees and all that stuff is poured back into the track. I think the track got a grant, and there's the driver's prize purse that they put up and sponsoring a night at the Speedway. Like they pretty much invest all that money back into the Speedway. So it's really great for the Speedway to be a NASCAR track. So we enjoy that. And it's Iowa Speedway weekend. This is a good week to have NASCAR night at Hawkeye Downs.
That's awesome. Congratulations from all of us
Thank you.
at Money Lap, which is just me today. Josh isn't here. AJ will hopefully be editing this, but we all hit you up and said congrats. That's a very cool honor. At what point do we also admit that you own the track now? So is this like winning your own charity?
I did. It is a legit. Well, so I will
I'm
say the Wall of Fame is separate from the Speedway. The Speedway does not run the Hall of Fame. Wall
Okay,
of Fame.
perfect.
So it's a
Perfect.
separate. The Wall of Fame is like a separate group that puts this on. They supported themselves. So there's there is some legitimacy in that. I was never asked to be on the Wall of Fame. They definitely nominated me and put me up for that. So it was definitely a legitimate honor.
That's very cool. You are in 100% more Hall of Fames than me. So you are our only Hall of Famer on this show. We are the only.
The only funny thing was which I don't. This is one of those things you only know if you know. But we were like kind of taking our photos and everything, and Schrader went up and got his photo taken, and he walked back, and my wife gave him a thumbs up. But if you know Kenny Schrader, he has one of those kind of thumbs. And he walked up to her. He goes, "Is that some kind of thumb joke?" And she's like, "What?" And then he held up his hand, and she goes, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah. How did he lost that somehow?
I don't know.
I thought he did. I remember maybe working on a race car, or I can't remember how that happened, or was born that way. But I've seen it, so I know exactly what you're talking about. That's pretty funny. Unintentional. She was trying to be nice, and instead,
Schrader drove the modified Friday. He did great. He ran second. It's a tough race. They're they're IMCA sport mods with all dirt rules, dirt tires, dirt everything, but they race on asphalt. And it's a 15-lap race, which means it's really a 4-lap race because it's a restart
every 2 laps.
It's a race to the front, and then it's kind of hard to pass from there. So, but Schrader drove it, ran second, and then I'm gonna drive it on Wednesday. The main reason I'm driving it on Wednesday is because you committed to driving it, and then you failed.
Wait a second. Well, this was all part of my plan to get you back in a race car. How long has it been?
I don't know, but
it's been a while.
Yeah, so
I love it. This is who they wanted to see. They wanted to see a Hall of Famer there.
Yeah, but they needed to see you.
I appreciate it, but it wasn't going to work out. But I appreciate the offer. It would have been a lot of fun. We'll make it happen eventually. I will find myself racing Hog Head Downs. I need to do my annual Iowa trip anyway at some point. So
Car dealer camp.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. I'm happy for you. And Kenny Schrader, who's probably in 100 different Hall of Fames at this point.
I know, I said that to him.
He's racking them up like Jimmy Johnson.
He probably is. He's probably in a bunch of those Hall of Fames. Just imagine all the short tracks that just feel like he's like their hero, that he's raced there 10 times or something, and they're like, Schrader comes here all the time. It's like Schrader goes everywhere all the time. He was literally in Indiana racing, came to Hawkeye Downs Friday night, and raced at Peevely on Saturday.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see how you do, and I'm glad this worked out that you have to drive it, because you should be driving it. So this would be cool. Speaking of history, it was a historic weekend in the NASCAR Cup Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll dive into why that is. We saw the insanity of a young phenom, and the back and forth battle for the F1 World Championship continues, as well as this past weekend, we saw Alex Palou in the Alex Palou IndyCar Invitational Series, which we'll dive into, which should be fun. So,
the Alex Palou IndyCar Invitational Series.
Yeah.
Get your diecast for Alex Palou at spoilerdiecast.com. They're absolutely crushing it, and they carry diecast from all major motorsports, NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, including the Alex Palou IndyCar Invitational Series. They're the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there, and for good reason, Parker, because they ship same or next day, which I can confirm personally, because about 2 weeks ago, I made my order, and I'll be damned if they didn't get it right out in time, and we ordered a bunch of IndyCars. So your order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have a massive selection, over 1,900 products in stock. Like I said, mostly NASCAR, kind of like us, but they got a little bit of everything: dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1, all the good stuff. Free shipping on orders over $100, and get a free NASCAR t-shirt of just kind of random drivers. So comment in the coupon there, or comment in the notes or whatever of your size. Make sure you use promo code MONEYLAP to get that promotion. Spoilerdiecast.com. Take advantage of the free shipping and that free shirt.
SpoilerDiecast.com. They're the best. Use code MoneyLap, which Landon did not use when he ordered.
I didn't.
Didn't want to blow up the spot.
I don't know if I spent $100. I think I bought like right up to, I don't know. I probably could have used it. I bet they would have thrown in a shirt.
I think they would have helped you out for sure.
I wasn't trying to get any special treatment.
No, you didn't want to.
I just wanted those cars.
Yeah, you don't want to be treated, have any sort of special stuff like that. They're a supporter. We don't want, we don't want to expect any more than we already get, which is great. And they allow us to sort of pick our schedule. Speaking of which, before we jump into all the racing stuff, just a reminder, Josh isn't here right now because he's on his honeymoon. So we're on our own. This is why this is probably so disjointed.
It's not going to sound great. The sound is going to be horrible.
Horrible.
The editing is going to be horrible. Well, the editing will be great because
if this even makes it out there, it'll be a miracle. AJ's gonna have to jump in and learn everything that Josh did. I have faith in him, but we'll see. This is Monday, July 28th, and just a heads up, next week we've got an episode coming up if all comes together. But then the week after that and the next week we're off. Summer break for Money Lap. We're taking 2 weeks off. I'll be gone, so it's just not possible.
When does summer break start?
It's gonna be the week of August 10th.
Is that in line with F1 summer break?
It actually is. It's perfectly in line, basically. They're racing Hungaroring this weekend, and then they're off for 3 weeks.
Isn't that kind of our... Don't we try to do that in line with F1 summer break?
We do, and we just did it. So it wasn't even... I thought of it afterwards when we sort of decided on this. So looking forward to that. But that's just a heads up. So if you're looking for us past next week, we won't be here for a couple weeks. But we appreciate all of you, and especially our one listener, Denny Hamlin, who I saw this past weekend. Of course,
hell of a weekend.
He did in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we'll start with qualifying, which was, there's no really other way to describe this other than beautiful, because it was a classic Indianapolis Motor Speedway qualifying session. Whether it's Indycar or NASCAR Cup Series, when that place heats up midday, it is incredibly slick. And that's what we saw. Multiple cars hit the wall, got sideways, and it ended with Denny Hamlin as the last car wrecking massively off of turn 2. A lot of cars had issues off turn 2. I talked to James Small, who told me, yes, the track was incredibly slick and unpredictable, but also there was a lot of wind gusts that were sort of coming across turn 2, so you didn't know what you'd get when you'd get out of there. I think that's what caught a lot of drivers off guard, including Chase Briscoe, which he told me had a big moment off of turn 2 and still won the pole, his 5th pole this season. I was feeling for my buddy John Hunter Nemechek. He was the first car early on to hit the wall when Legacy Motor Club had fast race cars in practice. They were in the top 5 of both cars off the bat. And I think he was, really pumped to go out there after his teammate Eric Jones had put down a fast lap. And he ends up hitting the wall, using all the racetrack off of 1, and then just nails the wall off of 2, killing his lap. He was still up off of 1 after touching the wall there. And I thought, man, he's going to really beat himself up. And then I think 6 or 7, maybe 8 cars continued to hit the wall and get sideways. So that makes you feel better when you've made a mistake, but then many, many others make the same mistake or worse, like Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, it must have been one of those tough weekends where it's just cars were on the edge. God, Indy can be killer like that too.
Oh, it's so temperature sensitive. And I was trying to explain this on TV all weekend, but I'm just like, there's few racetracks that seem to just be so sensitive grip wise to what the temperature is, to cloud cover, to whatever. It's just the design of the asphalt there, whatever the climate is. It just, for whatever reason, makes it super susceptible to that.
And let's just, remind ourselves that one of the things that makes Indy fundamentally Indy, and it doesn't matter if it's an IndyCar or a NASCAR. I mean, really, IndyCar and NASCAR are the only cars that have raced on the Indy Oval, right? Like,
yeah,
the thing that makes Indy fundamentally Indy is that you have such long straightaways that you have to trim cars out to go fast, right? Period. You got to make straightaway speed. Straightaways are forever long. But then the corners are so flat that you can't get through the corner without some downforce, right? It's not like you're going down a long straightaway into a 20-degree banked turn where the car's just going to load up and grip. So it doesn't matter if you're in an Indy car in 1967 or in 1997 or in 2027, right? No matter what package they have, it doesn't matter if it's in a cup car in 1994 or 2004 or 2024. Like the cars, you're constantly trying to trim them out to go make straightaway speed, and then hang on in the corner, find the right balance, trying to find downforce without drag. Like it's literally fundamentally the same thing, is it not?
It's a great point. It is. That's a great point. It doesn't matter
And
what
so
it is. That's what
and
that
so
place
it's like, and I would,
provides.
you know what, this would be a great conversation to have with Kyle Larson, because it's like, if you could get him to simplify, or anybody that's done both, right? To be like, is it the same? Just say for a second that it's the same to validate what I'm. Tell me again, like you've done both. Now tell me that I'm right, because it is the same. Like,
Well,
yeah, I know an IndyCar is not the same as a NASCAR. I get that, but I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, but it's the same at Indy. You're doing the same thing.
He basically said that. He basically said the Indy car did not feel much different than the next gen car in terms of just like
Yes,
what you're dealing with, the slip angle of the
you run
tire.
the same line. That's what's amazing too about the two cars. It's like, what is it about this track? And that has to do with the surface of the track too, which has the most unique surface of any racetrack that we race on. Right? It's unique. There's no track on earth, and I don't understand it. I don't know what is in that surface. You probably know because but like whatever they did to that surface with the diamond cutting or whatever, it's so unique. It doesn't take rubber the same way that other tracks do. And it doesn't matter if it's a next gen car, an Xfinity car, an Indy car, it doesn't matter what it is. You run the same line. There's one line to run at Indy, right?
Yep.
And it's from turn in point to apex to apexing out in the short shoots, back down. Like it's all the same. And then the goal is fundamentally the same. The way you trim the cars out, you find the balance, all that stuff. And so that is like what makes Indy. And so when you have these weekends where you see these guys wrecking and doing that stuff, it's like, yep, that's Indy's rearing its ugly head the way it is, the way it can.
After I saw like the third car have issues in qualifying, I literally thought that same thing. I'm just like, man, this racetrack. Like we love Indianapolis 500 qualifying for all those same reasons. And
the Cup cars are capable of the same thing there.
Same show.
There should be 4-lap qualifying for the Cup cars. They should do that.
Oh, well, they did. So Jay McMurray brought that up. He was like, I wish we would do 4-lap qualifying here. And then he got a text from Phil Parsons who was like, well, when the Coca-Cola 600 first came around, they did 4-lap qualifying there.
Really?
Yeah, because the 600 was trying to one-up Indianapolis. That was the whole purpose of it.
Of the 600,
and so,
wow.
They did 4-lap qualifying there as well. It'd be wild in a Cup car. Now, I thought the craziest part about Denny Hamlin's lap is he was up 2.5 tenths when he wrecked off turn 2. So, and remember, they have an alternate start-finish line in qualifying, so they put that's basically in between 3 and 4. So you're halfway through the lap when you get
so he was almost there.
Yeah, so he was up 2.5 tenths on Chase Briscoe for the pole and wrecked, and it reminded me of Scott McLaughlin being so fast at the Indy 500 earlier this year, and so fast in practice and just destroyed it off turn 2. So something about turn 2, qualifying, fast cars, whatever it is, it's incredibly treacherous. So that was a fun show, and it led to the race, which was a strategy fest, is the only way to put it. There was cars on 4 different strategies. You had
It's great about Indy.
Yeah, it is great about it. Team Penske, who ended up staying out that first caution, that vaulted them to the front of the field. They then proceeded to drive away from the field. They end up pitting under green to flip the stages and just trying to beat the leader out, which a lot of the crew chiefs weren't sure that was entirely possible because it's about 50 seconds on pit road, depending on how much fuel you take from entering pit road to doing your stop to leaving, which is about roughly the same as the lap time, right? So they had to get serious leads over the 3rd and 4th place cars to be able to pit and take enough fuel and get out of there. They did that successfully multiple times, but then they started having right rear issues across most of their cars, except for the 12 Ryan Blaney, I think, didn't have it. You had other cars on different strategies, of course, and it all culminated and led to the last part of the race, which is typical Indy as well. For some reason, no matter what car is racing there, all the strategies seem to converge at the right time, and the car leading is probably in a position where they're gonna maybe run out of fuel or they've stretched their fuel to like the nth degree. That is the case for Bubba Wallace. He's driving away or he's at least got a large lead over Kyle Larson. Larson's sort of running him down a little bit, just under 10 to go. They're both close on fuel and potentially not able to go into a green white checker when suddenly out of nowhere, there's a pop-up rainstorm through turns 1 and 2. It rains enough to stop the race, red flagged. They have to sit in their cars for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it was, and then get back going and, save as much fuel as they can under caution. Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace were both being told, we probably have enough for one green white checker, probably not a second. They get going. Bubba Wallace is able to hold off Kyle Larson through turn 2, gets the lead down the back, and there's a big wreck, of course, which forces them into another restart, saving fuel under caution. And at this point, there was discussions on Bubba Wallace's radio of maybe pitting, which they decided against, which I would have done, of course, as well. I'd say at that point, it's a Hail Mary. Just do what you can. And they somehow had enough fuel. They beat Kyle Larson once again on the restart, even more decisively than the first one. And Bubba Wallace was able to get away from him and win the race. He becomes the first black driver to win a major race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well, which is a pretty cool thing. He also broke a 100-race winless streak. And I think in a lot of ways, just put on one of probably his best performances in his Cup
This is
Series
his best
career.
win by far.
Yeah, and I think the things to unpack is like, one, it's the managing the fuel. 2, it's beating Kyle Larson on consecutive restarts decisively, and not letting the moment be bigger than him, right? With all the shit he deals with from all the naysayers and he called it noise in the post-race. And he had a really emotional interview on our post-race on TNT NASCAR Nation, which was really just, super. Like I think the word I'm looking for is like very impactful, very heavy. When he came on our post race for good reasons, he deals with a lot, and there's a lot of noise around him, always not of his own, bringing, and somehow he shut all that out and put on an amazing performance to win, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that was by far his best win, and he earned that one. Because it was like I was kind of watching the end, and I didn't watch all of the beginning of the race in the first half, so
I just recapped it for you. You're good.
Yeah, but seeing him kind of lead the fuel strategy, and when the caution came out, it was like, well, there goes Bubba's chance. And then after that first restart, it was like, oh,
yeah,
he's here to win. That was that's pretty cool.
It was really cool. He went very deep on the post race desk with us, and he just talked about how even like that morning he had those feelings of like, I'm gonna win today, and like all the signs were lining up, and I was like, man, I know that so well. Like I've had a couple races that I've won where it's been like that morning or even the week prior, the week leading up, I'm like, I'm gonna win this weekend, and for some reason somehow you manifest it. I can't figure out why I couldn't just replicate that all the time, but for whatever reason, there's some weeks you're just like, yep, it's gonna work, and it does. And for him, he basically said that that's exactly how it went, which it's a very cool feeling, because it feels like just all the stars aligned for you to make it happen. It does lock him in the playoffs, which he has basically lived on the playoff cut line for the last couple of years, more than any other driver in the NASCAR Cup Series. So that's an incredible feeling with a couple races to go in terms of playoffs to finally lock in when you've been right there on that cut line, which is goal number one. If you're going to run full time in the NASCAR Cup Series, get in the playoffs.
Winning one win per 100 races is a perfect sweet spot for pissing off your car owners that don't know whether to re-sign you or not.
That's true. If you could guarantee it, a lot of them would take it.
Yeah,
but the problem is if it goes longer than that, it's like, we gotta.
Yeah, it was like one more year without a win, and now you've got like, well, I don't know about Bubba. I don't know. The rumors start swirling, but dang, you get that one win a year. Every other year, it needs to be a win a year, I think, to really,
keep. I think if you're good for a win a year in the NASCAR Cup Series, you're there as long as you want. Basically,
yeah. Oh, 100%.
So overall, just a very impressive performance by him. Thought it was very cool post race, seeing all the emotion and that sort of thing. And I think, we just already said it was probably his best performance, but I kept going back to the fact of like how they saved that fuel, how they stretched it. That is just so tough. In those closing laps, like being in a fuel position like that is just the most unnerving feeling, because you want to push, but you're not really sure, and the team's telling you one thing, and you're doing everything you think is correct, and all the stuff you've done preparation-wise to know exactly how you're saving fuel and what throttle position to use and when to lift and that sort of thing, but you just don't know until it finishes. And for a crown jewel like that, the Brickyard 400, just a massive win for him. And to do it as a unchartered car for his owner, Denny.
I know. I saw a bunch of people trying to saying that was the first win for an unchartered team, and I was like, definitely not. But that's cool.
Nope. Yeah. I saw Denny afterwards, and I gave him the thumbs up and was like, "Hey man, congratulations." And he goes, "It was a good day." For many reasons, and with a smirk on his face, and I knew exactly what he meant. So he finished third with a backup car from his wreck in qualifying. They called it a trailer queen and that it wasn't going to be that fast, and he decisively worked his way through the field. He was in the top 10 by end of stage 2, basically fringe top 5, and then just navigate his way through the restarts to be in the top 5 at the end. Typical veteran Denny Hamlin continues.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I had picked Kyle Larson to win.
He's had a couple of those just veteran finishes.
Oh yeah,
veteran P3, veteran top 5, veteran P2. Well, and then
we
veteran
keep harping
win.
on it.
Yeah,
we keep going into it because it's just the case. I picked Kyle Larson to win last week on this show and missed it by one spot, but he did have his best performance probably since before the debacle that was the Indy 500 Coca-Cola 600 double. So I read that right. That's the best way to close the book and that chapter of the book of that whole debacle than to I thought he could do it poetically by winning. He didn't quite do that, but to come second, I thought was
pretty good.
Big day probably for him to turn it around. I mentioned earlier, Legacy Motor Club looked super fast this past weekend, and unfortunately, it all went off the rails when Eric Jones didn't get his right front fully tight. They dropped the jack too early, and the right front wasn't fully tightened. The brake rotor basically sheared the wheel, which he wrecked into turn 3 hard, and kind of took away a really good weekend for them. They were also fast in practice. John Hunter, I believe, finished 11th, potentially 11th or 12th. Was close to top 10. He kind of drove through the field as well. And I won't say who, but when they were super fast in practice, this person turned to me and goes, "They got to be cheating." Because they were like a half a second faster than anyone else in the start of practice. And it was like, you can't just show up and be half a second faster than the field and not be cheating. And one other person who will not be named was like, well, yeah, they messed up the whole offset on that one. It's like, guys, we need to ease into this a little bit. We don't need to just show up there with everything we got.
Okay, I just based on your impression, I think I know who said that.
You can figure it out.
Ease. The when you were holding your hand like this, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know who. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, that's well said. No confirmation of that whatsoever. Complete allegations and joking, but they were impressively fast and continue sort of their trend this year.
Well, what's funny, we don't have to deep dive on this, but like what's funny about that comment is that in the world of the next gen where the cars are all the same, and now we're several years into the next gen where half these teams are split. The whole field is split into thirds. Ford, Chevy, Toyota. They're all using the same resources, right? Like now they don't all have the same resource. They have different levels of engineering support and money and all that stuff, but like they're all using the same simulation. They're all going to the same facilities. They're all getting the same engines. So at a track, especially a big track, now Indy could see being an exception to this, but especially like a Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, like speedway track where it's just kind of raw speed, and for someone to be an outlier is like, yeah, I'm not sure if I believe that one.
So what did Front Row have the last like 2 years at the super speedways and qualifying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's no telling, in this game, you're going to push every bit. There is a reminder, though, that Legacy Motor Club does not have a JGR Technical Alliance, which is the only Toyota team that doesn't. Obviously, 2311 and JGR are essentially teammates. So they're kind of on an island by themselves. So if they
Do
are,
they still have Toyota support? Toyota
they do have
simulation?
Toyota support. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
They
So
just don't have
they're still
access
using
to
the same
JGR.
simulation as JGR and 2311. They're just not sharing information.
They're not. No, they're not sharing.
But the tool is
So,
the same.
yeah. And you do get the same wind tunnel info and that sort of stuff. So, Katherine Legge finished 17th.
I saw that.
Her best performance in the Cup Series.
It's
Pretty impressive. You know what? Back to the whole Indy's the same no matter what you drive. She obviously had the most experience of any track she's been to in stock cars there with all her runs in the Indy 500 going far faster than she was in that stock car. And guess what? She had her best weekend yet.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's like literally, yeah, that's drives home my point.
It reinforces it for sure. So
I wonder if I wonder what DraftKings had for Katherine Legge on top 20.
I don't know. And I'm not allowed to do that stuff, so I can't. I never look at it. I'm just not allowed to. I only pick winners.
If we actually accommodated our listeners, we would probably talk about the betting portion of the show.
Yeah, we're money lap. We don't lose it betting.
We should. All right.
We actually had DraftKings that's who we was sponsoring our picks on the TNT pre-race show. And if Kyle Larson had won, I would have been 3 for 5. Potentially I choose, 3 for 5 on those 5 races, picking the winner. So I picked Chase Elliott right. I picked Denny Hamlin right for Dover. I want to say I picked him for Dover. And if Kyle Larson he finished one spot short, if he'd won Indy, I had it. The road courses, I kept believing others would win, I guess, other than SVG. That was wrong. Next, we head to Iowa. You mentioned it. Now we move the NBC portion. I will not be there. I won't start any NBC duties till Daytona, as a heads up. I'm doing a handful this year. But that back to our whole break thing. So I assume you're not going, Landon.
I don't have any plans to be there.
Okay. Well, they'd like
Unless
to have
I'm
you.
needed.
All right. Well, look forward to seeing it. I mentioned at the top, there's a young phenom doing insane stuff in the Xfinity Series. Connor Zilisch wins again. 6th win of the year, 3 in a row, and now on a rectangle. He's basically won on every track type, except for a mile and a half for a short track yet. So that's coming, though, I would think.
So he's won on an oval. He's won on a triangle.
Pocono.
He's won on a rectangle.
The rectangle and multiple road courses.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When was the last time, let's just say NASCAR had a phenom that was actually producing these numbers?
Well, I said that all weekend on the broadcasts, and we talk about him, and I've run out of things to say. I keep calling him a generational talent and that sort of stuff, and I'm like, he's living up to it. But this past weekend, I basically just said, like, to your point, it's seldom, if ever, that I can remember a driver having an immense amount of hype and then living up to it at the level that he is. If you think back to Joey Logano or Kyle Larson, like, the hype was there, but it wasn't quite like this insanity that we're seeing out of him. And there's just no, like, there's no denying that, like, this is just incredible. There's no place that he can't find himself at the front and find a way to win. And I think, if you look at Talladega, he was basically leading that when he got wrecked on the last lap. He has finished in the top 5 at some mile and a half, so those could have been wins. He won the pole at Martinsville. So, like, he's super fast at those places. He's just truly the most complete driver I've ever seen come into the sport in my time in it. And he's like, and then on top of that, here's the other crazy part. He gets out of the car and he's like funny, interesting, tons of personality, loves to joke around.
Not
I
a
was
jerk.
like, my God,
Nice
this
kid.
guy's nice. He's not, he's just very humble, and you're just like, wow, this kid is the most incredible
got
human to come into this stuff ever in some respects.
Ty
So,
Gibbs won 4 races out of 18 in his first year in Xfinity.
mm,
He won 7 races out of 33 in his second year in Xfinity in 2022. Just to give you an idea of like phenom numbers.
yep.
Like I think Ty probably didn't get as much credit as a phenom as what Connor is getting. And maybe that's fair. I mean, I don't know. Ty was fair or unfair. I don't know. I mean, carried the Gibbs name, so a lot of people brushed him off as a late model driver. And when your grandpa's Joe Gibbs,
Yep.
It's easy to. He definitely had an upward battle, and came with his reputation or whatever from on track stuff. But I mean, he put up numbers, right? He won his first race for God's sakes on a road course.
Yeah.
So just to kind of compare phenom numbers, but then I'm just using racing reference here the same way Josh would with us.
If we had,
If I go to Kyle Larson,
he didn't win the first year.
No, I mean,
because he was at Turner Motorsports.
Right. He wasn't in nearly the equipment that Gibbs was in, but he didn't win in his first year. Won 2 races in his second year. Ran 28 races driving for Turner.
Yep.
Then won a race, then won 2 races, and won 3. And those were all part-time years, so he was running Cup. But he ran 3. He ran 2 full seasons of Cup before he got his first win in Cup.
Yep.
So, I mean, what are some other? I mean, we don't have to dwell on this too much more, but give me another phenom.
Jeff Gordon.
Because Ty Gibbs was the only one that came to mind that I was like, who's a phenom that was a phenom but
Joey
also
Logano?
did phenom things?
Did Joey Logano?
Right?
I don't think he did either. What did Joey Logano do?
I'm pulling him up.
He went to Cup immediately.
Right, because he ran Cup. He ran full-time Cup in 2009 and won 1 race, which was New Hampshire.
Yep. Rain short.
Didn't win anything in 2010 and 11. 2012 won 1 Cup. And we're still talking about Cup. We haven't looked at his Xfinity yet.
Oh, I was thinking Xfinity.
Right. Xfinity, I mean, he won 1 race out of 19 in 2008. 2009, he won 5 races out of 22.
Okay.
He won 2 races out of 25. But again, phenom, he was running Cup full time at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Connor is running only Xfinity, and he's up to how many wins this year?
6.
6. It just passed halfway through the season.
Yeah.
In his rookie year.
It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And I think it's unprecedented. And I think it goes to the whole, we've talked about it a ton, but it's the whole Josh Wise preparation that, he said to me, this was our project. We developed this kid from the ground up. And I think it's major proof for his program and his, way that he goes about it. His formula that Connor is living, breathing proof that this is the way. So pretty cool. It's been fun to watch, and it was actually a fun race. The Junior Motorsports also won their 100th race, which was cool. So it was fun to see Dale Jr. running down the front stretch with a big 100 wins flag, looking like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Pretty cool.
And it looked like it was Just Allgaier who would have given them their 100th win, but he actually got taken out by Kyle Larson off of turn 2. Once again, they got together on a restart, and Justin got the short end of that stick in the wall, ended his day, which was unfortunate, but Connor Zilisch went on to get the 100 win for them. So it was a good race. Really good race. Didn't really catch the truck series, not going to lie, from RP. I was out to dinner, so didn't get to watch. I think Lane Riggs won. So good job, bud. It wasn't Corey Heim. How about that? For once. Unless there's anything you want to dive into in the truck series.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, my next truck series race is Watkins Glen, August 8th, by the way, if anyone's wondering. And I'm sure I'll get asked that in the comments. So, yeah, that's when I'll be back in the 75. Open wheel. F1 race 13 at Spa-Francorchamps, which is
So
in Belgium.
disappointed with the start of that.
What's that?
I was so disappointed at the start of that.
Why?
Because
the
rain.
Yeah. So they sat around for a while. It was the drainage isn't great there. The rain was too deep. Once again, they rode around on the pace car for like 4 laps, and then they went green flag racing. Oscar Piastri passed Lando Norris down the straight after Eau Rouge, which I can't remember the name of this time. Kemmel Straight? Oh, God. Look at my memory if that's true. Kemmel Straight, I think. And got by him on the intermediate tires, proceeded to never relinquish the lead. Lando Norris made a run at him late in the race on a hard tire when everyone else was on mediums. They all started to fall off, and he cut the deficit in basically half and then made a mistake in the first corner of the final lap. Ended up about 3.5 seconds behind Oscar Piastri, which means Piastri now leads the championship by 16 points, but these two keep going back and forth, which means now heading to Hungaroring next week, this coming weekend, Lando Norris will, of course, win. What else stuck out to you?
What F1 still has a lot of races left.
Yeah.
It's a long ways to go in the season.
Tons.
They race clear into December.
They do. Just insane. No thanks.
So 16 points in this if the roles switch right now, it's Piastri just kind of like one-upping Norris.
Mm-hmm.
But if Lando kind of gets it back together, that 16 points can go away in what? A couple weeks?
2 weeks, basically.
Even with 1-2 finishes.
Yeah, I think it's 8 or 9 points difference. Now you're testing my memory. This is where we need Josh. No Josh, we can't remember these things. I think it's like 8 points or 9 points difference between first and second. So 2 weeks, it could flip the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Lewis Hamilton, who we had picked to win last week, he got his lap deleted in Q1. So he started at the back. He made some serious progress to the field on the intermediate tires in the wet. He was doing a great job. But then Flip was one of the first on slicks, made it work, even made more headway, but fizzled out in like 7th place and just couldn't get by Alex Albon and sort of just ended up finishing there. We missed that one. He did not win. He did say it was an unacceptable mistake that he had his lap deleted in Q1 for track limits.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, watching it, went on an absolute tirade in the TNT production trailer about track limits. I even said to Bamba, I did one of these click your fingers and looked at him. I said, "Hey, Bamba, what do I think about track limits?" And he's like, "They're effing stupid." I was like, "Yep." Even Kyle Busch sends me DMs occasionally with people that talk about track limits or videos about track limits. So,
well, we can talk about it with him later here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get it. He will love to dive into that. One key thing: Max Verstappen finished 4th, which apparently keeps him high enough points wise or something, some malarkey contract wise that he can't leave Red Bull now. So he cannot without being bought out, obviously, or breaking a contract. So his exit clause, because of his 4th place finish, is negated. Apparently, he said he's very happy now that with the new team principal. Yeah.
Interesting.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we mentioned it. Next race is this weekend, Hungary, the Hungaroring. That's on August 3rd. And usually where you qualify is where you finish there, unless we get rain. So qualifying between the McLaren duo, qualifying could be everything if it's a dry weekend. So I do like, but I think if this continues the way it's been going, Lando Norris will have the upper edge this coming weekend. And they'll just
so
keep
the
trading back
Q
and forth.
speed tie goes to Norris, you think?
Yeah, I think so. At that place. And I don't have any facts or metrics to back that up other than just intuition, which is how I make all my picks.
So that's enough for me to, because I see here that I need to make my picks.
You will have to make picks. But before we get there, we have to talk about the other open wheel series.
Oh, you just got attacked. You just opened yourself for attack by the IndyCar community. The other open wheel series.
Well, I didn't mean it that
The-
way. There's just another one out there.
The other.
That is the Alex Palou IndyCar Invitational Series, which was at Laguna Seca, which was won by
Alex Palou.
Palou. Absolute domination. Even Marco Andretti said this is a Palou snooze fest at one point. I don't understand. This guy's on another. He's in another stratosphere than everyone else. Kyle Kirkwood has tried to keep him honest, but to no avail this past weekend. Our boy Connor Daly fought hard in the midfield. I think he ended up 14th. Happy to see that. I saw his mom yesterday in Indy at the Brickyard 400. We were kind of hanging out in the same suite area. And the IndyCar race was on in the suite next to us, so we were keeping up with it as much as we could. But she was saying that he was doing well out there. So P14, good stuff for our boy. Hopefully he can get more ovals in that schedule. We need him at more ovals. That's about it. That's all I got for IndyCar.
Yeah. Who's going to challenge Palou? Where's the next IndyCar road course phenom going to come from?
Well, they seem to always come from Europe or from Colombia with Juan Pablo Montoya. But Colombia. I don't know. It's just sometimes these guys who are obviously, I think that field is insanely competitive, full of top level talent. He's just on it right now. And we see this
insanely competitive, full of top level talent. Same guy wins every week.
I think he's just on it, man. I don't know any other way to put it. He's obviously.
I agree.
Just gelling.
Now I can get attacked by the.
Yeah, the IndyCar fans are going to.
No, it absolutely is insanely competitive and top level talent. It is just insane that the same guy is winning the majority of the races.
And it's not like, it'd be one thing if Scott Dixon had multiple wins this season as well, but it's just not the case. He's just faster than everyone else. So we had all picked him to win last time. Their next race is at Portland in 2 weeks. So, which actually says 12 days, by the way. Well, we won't pick for that because we'll do that next week. Okay. So let's make our picks for this upcoming weekend. It's Iowa for Cup and Xfinity. And we got F1 and Hungaroring. Who you got?
Chase Briscoe.
Okay. Xfinity.
Allgaier. I've been trying to get Allgaier to win one. I think I picked him 3 weeks in a row. Maybe not. Are trucks running at Iowa?
I don't think so.
Are they not? Okay.
I should look that up.
Lando. Let's go with
Lando. No, trucks are not Iowa.
Okay. What's racing Friday night in Iowa?
You? Hobby stocks?
No, we're racing Wednesday night.
I don't know. Maybe nothing. For Cup, I'm choosing. Who am I choosing? Who's going to win Iowa? Kyle Larson. I got a feeling he's turned it all around. Xfinity, it's going to be Carson Kvapil. F1, Lando Norris. So we're no different there. That's what we got. Okay. That's our picks. We had some reviews. No new Apple reviews. We're at 229. We're stuck there. If you want to leave us a 5-star review and be on the show, let us know. We had some comments on YouTube I thought were kind of fun. We can dive into. If I can get them to expand without breaking the app as usual. Noah of Babylon says, how many people need to order something on Spoiler Diecast for us to get a Money Lap sponsor in the truck series? Lots.
That is a question that we need to get answered.
I would think it's lots. And I'm not going to give a technical number. It's just many, many, many. So go there, please.
I bet if 5,000 people bought something this week.
Yep.
With an average order of $50, we could probably work.
I think we can make it happen.
I bet that moves the needle.
And we're going to put you in it. Yes. Bam. All right. So if you want to see Landon in a truck series race, 5,000 of you order at least $50. I love that. Let's make it happen. That's our new thing. That's our new goal here on Money Lap. Paul Warner, JM6B. I have no idea what that is. Hey guys, so glad I found your program. Ooh, we've been called a program. Landon Herm has said you might race again. I'm guessing he's
Kenny
talking
Wallace.
about Kenny Wallace. And now that we've just said that you are racing this week, plus
He was right.
Yeah, he was right. Plus, we just pitched Money Lap spoiler diecast for sponsorship for a Truck Series race. You're doing that too. I mean, that's a guarantee. He said, would love to see it. Love the one about you and Schrader at Martinsville. Parker, glad to see you in the booth, at least, since you're not on track in your best capacity. Oh, thanks. That's not to say you're not bad in the booth. Oh, appreciate it. Keep on getting jacked up on Sundrop. I have a great idea for a racetrack is needed another time, though. I don't know where that's coming from. I've never drank Sundrop in my life.
That's awesome. Thank you, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. He must listen to Schrader and Kenny Wallace's podcast.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Maybe he knows him. He might be from down there.
Well, Herm said it. It's true.
Those guys race so much. Schrader is like the last most pure racer there is. Kenny Wallace is right there with him too.
Yeah,
but Schrader is as pure as it gets.
They're pure Midwest racers. Like they both got to the big time, but they're happy at those short tracks, banging around the Midwest.
All right, K Ben 24, 36-week playoff versus 10-week playoff. ... The fans are being robbed of enjoying the full value NASCAR product, and we're being sold a watered down version with some extra sugary crap added. Heart emoji, Band-Aid emoji. It's not good for the health of the sport. Mark Martin said he's fighting for the hardcore fan base, and it's definitely not a small subsection of vocal fans. Look at the social media backlash received by those who tried to discredit him. I can't say that I disagree. I mean, I said it last week. I'm entertained by the playoff system, but if they came out tomorrow and Mark Martin led the march and got NASCAR to go back to the old playoff format without stage breaks, I would be all for it.
Me too.
I don't know. I like it either way.
I would too. I
also think it's just it is so the claims that are being made here are so long term that like you could change it tomorrow and ratings are not going to spike back up to 9 million viewers a race. It's like, yeah, we might all like it better and we're going to sit here and talk about it every single week. And you're going to wake up one day 10 years later and go, man, remember when we had playoffs? Remember how stupid that was? We have 100 million fans again. I'm so glad that we don't do those playoffs anymore. Right? Or not. I don't know.
Or not. or less people watch.
But it's not a short. I just think it's not a short term. I don't think it's something that like gets an instant fix.
No.
Right? Either way, maybe. Well, the playoff way is a short term fix. It is something they do for today's ratings. Right? Like when they make stage breaks and they make playoff points and they make elimination rounds. Those are things to do that they're trying to accomplish for today's ratings. They want the ratings for that race to spike. And I suppose they do or they don't. I mean, I'm entertained. We talked about it last week, repeating myself again for the fourth time. But, the real debate here is like, is that long-term the healthiest for the sport? And is that what the fans want to see? I don't know. Mark Martin's got a great theory. I don't think he's wrong, but I don't know. So if they changed it, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. I had a thought off of that once again, because it kind of popped in my mind where I'm definitely entertained. And I think we both were able to articulate both sides of the argument here. And I do believe there is good data to back up that at least comparatively year over year or to the year prior, races that are sort of cutoff races that have compelling storylines do have higher ratings. That's just a fact. The idea of like, I've seen the points, there's a couple people on Twitter that post the points as if it was still like the Winston Cup series. And right now it'd be like 100 points difference between Chase Elliott and Larson and I want to say Denny or Chase Briscoe and William Byron. And, now if you're outside like the top 6, you're out already.
Right.
But I see that and that's fun. And I think the only thing is like we talk about wins mattering more, but the flip side to that is if you're back on that traditional format every, just cumulative points over the course of the season, the little wins do kind of matter still, if that makes sense. Like even if you're like 15th in points, you win a race, people remember that, right? They just remember race wins, especially significant ones.
Yeah, wins
right?
always matter.
They always matter.
I guess,
so it's like,
but and just take this for however you interpret it, right? Because we're being overly nuanced.
Yes.
But like Bubba's win this weekend, perfect example, right? Bubba's win this weekend in Indy is no less of a win without the playoffs, right? It is the Brickyard. It's a crown jewel. He is no less excited winning that race in a traditional format where he's 21st in points or 18th in points or whatever he was right on the cut line and got a win. He's no less excited. Doesn't pay him any less. His bonus is the same. Probably, maybe he might have like a playoff bonus. But either way, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
Now, in the playoff system, it's the win is not just a win. It's also a chance to win the championship. Because in a non-playoff system, he doesn't like the win is super important and it's great for his trophy case and his emotions and his pocketbook and his resume, but it doesn't really get him that much closer to winning a championship.
Nope.
It doesn't.
Nope.
His odds to win a championship would have gone up by 0.1% in a traditional points system.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not even the point of the traditional point system, because the point of the traditional point system is to look for a complete season-long champion, right? It's not about like, well, can you just win the biggest race? It's about, can you show up week after week, right? I don't know who is the traditional points leader. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott.
Yeah, he's been the most consistent all year. He had, he might still not have a finish outside the top 20 right now.
Really?
Unless I'm forgetting somewhere he wrecked recently.
God, that's
crazy. I think he's never finished outside the top 20 all season. Like he's putting together a great Winston Cup season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't care. I'm gonna watch it anyways. I'm gonna pay attention anyways.
I can see it both ways. It's honestly, I'm so torn because I'm like, yeah, I see Crescents for like the week after week, on the circuit thing, like I said last week. But then I'm like, but shit, I love the cutoff races. And like I know from firsthand experience last year being in that moment at the Roval leading and knowing I was fighting for like my championship life was just the most intense feeling I've ever had in a race car. And I was just like, God damn, like that's really cool. So like,
I know.
Maybe there's a good mix.
Remember how like just lame it was for drivers to get out of their car and be like, yeah, we'll take a ninth. That's a good points day.
The worst. The worst.
Like, what's
That's what
compelling about that?
There was nothing. It was the worst.
I mean,
ever.
It's respectful. It's respectable. But I don't know. I go both. I truly am both ways on it. I hate saying the words I don't care because I just said them. And I'm like, the moment I said I don't care, it's like, well, that's lame. But like, because you're supposed to pick a side. We're being way too nuanced about this. I love it either way. If they switched it tomorrow, I'd be like, awesome. Let's keep an eye. Then we'll talk about that. Then we'll watch that. And then the money lap, we'll just do a points as they run if it was playoff system.
Oh man. Do they keep stages or not though? That's the question.
Oh God. Get rid of stages. Even with the playoffs, get rid of stages.
That if they took everything away, it'd just be like NASCAR back in 2003, racing the way it ought to be.
It is.
And then
like, could you imagine?
You know what the best part is?
Like I know that half the fans would be sleeping.
Yep.
But I almost don't care. Could you imagine how sweet it would be if the Brickyard 400 just went green to checkered? Just 400 miles. The drivers can't even climb out of the car after the race. Like 4 ambulances on pit road. 9 pit stops in a row without a break.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Just absolute carnage.
Just a slogging of laps by cars.
7 drivers just had to pull off and quit. Could you imagine? That would be awesome. The winner like won by 42 seconds.
Almost full lap of the field. That'd be great. Everyone's asleep.
Everybody's asleep, but it's just like, hell yeah, that's cool. That's stock car racing, man.
Oh my God, that is pretty funny. Well, I thought about this though. Like, imagine they do all that. Like, just in this theoretical world, they take away all the playoffs, stages, everything, and then the same amount of people or less tune into the Daytona 500 the next season.
Well, that's why I said it's a short term. Like, it's not a short term thing.
I know, but for all those people that are like, everything would change and be better, it's just like, it just won't happen.
Well, and that's where we went over this last week, because my concept on this is like, this is cultural, right? And you can't put this back in the bag. Like, we've been going down a path for more than a decade, but like the decisions that were made and that continue to be made, like, we broke the culture of tradition.
Yep.
Right. And now we're the culture of modernity, or whatever the right word. I don't even know if I use the English language properly there, but like now it's like we're chasing culture. We are the culture. Why did I just try to say that? We're
English
not
not your friend right now.
Yeah, we're not the culture. We're chasing culture, right? Like we're not creating it. We're chasing it. We're trying to attract audiences. We're trying to attract, and that's like my critique to all this. It's like, well, then did we make a mistake in that?
Another way to put that is we're not setting the trends. We're not the trend setters.
Yeah, we're chasing.
We're following the trends. So, and I think, there's no way to know, really. And to your point, once you've broken the whole convention of,
can't go back.
Tradition and everything, what's it even matter now at this point? We're 21 years essentially into the chase / playoff formats.
Right.
2004 is the first year when Nextel came in. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's old enough to drink at this point.
Jeez.
Last comment, which is the flip side of the whole argument that the K-Ben says has the majority of people talking, up in arms. This is Raptorm on YouTube said, I like the playoffs because it's different from all the other series. I do agree the final needs to be a 3-race series. If they went back to the point system, the season would need to be 25 or less races. I would have little interest with the current schedule if it was points, kind of like baseball in the middle of the season. I like the option of mirrors or spotters. I would wonder how that would play out. I am guessing most ovals, they pick spotters, but road courses, they go mirrors. Spotters hate the road courses anyways. Hocevar would be the perfect driver for the Twitch-style feed as he always streams and understands the concept. That was great. I remember that point from last week. That was a good one about those in-car cameras having like a Twitch stream effect, which would be super cool. But there you go. There's the flip side of the whole argument we just had and the point discussion we just had. He likes it, and he watches it because of it. So,
well, then let's just stick with what we got.
There you go. That's it. Oh, no. We just went on a long discussion of the playoffs there that we did not intend on doing. It was not in the format. And now I'm looking. Josh isn't here. Wasn't here to alert me. Kyle Busch is no longer in the green room. Landon.
Tragedy
again. Jeez. This is what happens when Josh just leaves us on our own. We're sorry, Kyle. It has to be next week. Peace. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.